In today's video, a review of Dungeon Mayhem and the soon-to-be-released Dungeon Mayhem Monster Madness. Hi everybody, my name is Nate, and you are watching WASD20, a channel about tabletop RPGs and fantasy maps. And in today's video, I'm not talking about tabletop RPGs, and I'm not talking about fantasy maps. We're actually going to do a card game review. Now, it's a Dungeons & Dragons card game, so it's got that going for it. There's some obvious crossover there, but I hope you will humor me for this one because I have been having a ton of fun playing Dungeon Mayhem. Now, this video is not sponsored in any way, but Wizards of the Coast did send me these sets free of charge. However, I will note that Wizards of the Coast sends me a lot of free stuff, and there's a lot of stuff I don't choose to review. And I honestly thought I would never do a review of Dungeon Mayhem either, but since getting the newer set, I've been playing a lot more of this game and really enjoying it, so I wanted to share it with you all. So, let's take a look. Alright, so here we have it, Dungeon Mayhem. Now, I do have two expansions here, but we're going to start just by taking a look at the core set here. This one I think retails for about $11, and it does come with 4 different heroes. We have a half-orc barbarian, a human wizard, I believe, a elf cleric, and a tiefling rogue. And yep, they've got names and their own little quirks and abilities and things like that. So here is a little rule book. It's pretty rules light, not a real complicated game. It's designed for ages 8+, but I did play with my 7-year-old who doesn't really get into games a whole lot, and this one held his attention much better than many other games we have played that claim to be 8+. We've got little hit point trackers and things like that in here, and not really a great way to store those in this box. And then we've got our decks of cards here. It's got this nice card holder, so you can just kind of pop them out of there. So there are 28 card decks, 4 of them. Each set has their own hit point tracker card. If we take a look at Sutha, our half-orc barbarian here. Hit point tracker card and just kind of a little rules summary. The top section is the same for every character, and the bottom section has the mighty powers specific to this hero. Now, the idea behind this game is that you are adventurers in a dungeon, and you turn on one another, and you're duking it out for all the treasure in the dungeon. Now, there's not really any treasure involved. That's just what the back of the box says. It's actually just a matter of bringing your opponent down to 0 hit points, to that broken heart right there. So we would put our little hit point tracker right here, and you can play with just you and one other player. And for example, if we were to kind of do a mock battle here, we would pick 3 cards, and then at the beginning of our turn, we get to pick 1 more card at the beginning of every turn. And now I get to decide what to do. You can see these symbols here. So these are attacks. This means I get to draw 2 cards if I play that one. This one, what I would probably do in this case would be to play this one right here. That's an attack, plus the lightning bolt is a repeat turn or go again. And then I would probably do something like this. So I would be doing a total of 4 damage there to my opponent. Now, if my opponent did have a shield card, let's take a look here at our cleric. Fluffy provides 2 shields. So in this case, if I was doing this much damage as Sutha, I would actually be destroying this shield, 1, 2, and then doing an additional 2 damage, 3, 4, bringing Leah down to 8 hit points. There are also healing abilities. You can completely destroy a shield. There are these special abilities, these mighty powers, at the bottom of each as well, and you can see a little summary of at least these 2 heroes, what their special powers are. Now, overall, the game was fun, and we played it quite a bit. It's a little bit kind of like a more elaborate version of rock, paper, scissors in my mind in some ways. Super quick games. I mean, a game can last anywhere from 3 minutes to like 15 or 20 minutes. The box says 5 to 10 minutes, but I have had some games definitely last longer than 10 minutes where you're just kind of in a stalemate. I hit you, you heal, I hit you, you heal, I hit you, you heal, over and over again, that sort of thing. So it can get a little bit repetitive, but the expansions really have fleshed it out nicely in terms of just adding more variety. Because when you only have 4 heroes, You know, you can switch it up, but you kind of get tired of seeing the same abilities over and over again. When I got the Battle for Baldur's Gate expansion, I think it maybe over the summer, I honestly didn't play it that much more. Hardly even touched it, to be honest with you. But when I got the Monster Madness set just a couple weeks ago, I started playing it a lot more because this one comes with 6 additional heroes. They're not heroes in this case, they are monsters, but they function pretty much exactly the same. And that just adds enough variety to keep it really interesting, where, you know, you might play 2 games as the owlbear and then you switch over to the cleric, and you're just kind of seeing a lot of new things all the time, which keeps it really interesting. So just taking a quick look at the Battle for Baldur's Gate expansion here, this one does come with 2 new heroes. The art is slightly different in this one. It looks like they may have used a different artist, but still kind of got that very cartoony feel. Definitely a lot of humor in, you know, the titles of the cards and the sorts of things you're seeing here and some of the special abilities. But in this set, we do get Jaheira, who is a shape-shifting druid, can go into bear and wolf form, and there's certain things she can do in each form and different ways that cards will act depending on what form she's in. So that's pretty cool new mechanic. And then we've also got Minsk and Boo. Minsk is, I think, the ranger, and his little sidekick, the hamster Boo. So that's pretty adorable. There's one ability in here that's really cool. Each player give their hit point total to the player on their right. Now, I think it was the wizard here who had a similar ability, swap your hit points with another player. So that one's pretty cool. It just makes the game totally crazy, kind of topsy-turvy, not honestly very well balanced, very dependent on what cards you're picking up. So there's a lot of luck involved, and that's kind of what makes it Mayhem. I think it is aptly titled. It's just kind of a wild ride of people backstabbing each other all the way down to 0 hit points. But now, I recently got this one in the mail. This game is not released until, I think, February 28th, so I'm not sure if it'll be out by the time you're seeing this, but I was immediately impressed by the box. It's much bigger, it's very sturdy, really nice looking design, and then obviously we get monsters in this one. So as you open it up here, one of the things I first noticed was this gigantic spacer. I was like, oh, great. Nice big box, but, you know, big old spacer, kind of a waste of space. I've got plenty of those games. But I was pleasantly surprised that this box is functionally going to be storage for all the cards. And so I'll show you how that works in a minute here. A couple things here. We obviously get some monsters here. We've got Lord Cinderpuff the dragon, Hoots Magoots an owlbear, Dr. Tentaclos, who's a mind flayer, Blorp is a gelatinous cube, Delilah Deathray is a beholder, and we've got Mimi LeChase, who is a mimic, can take many different forms. So these are monsters, but they pretty much play the same as heroes, and they're meant to be, you know, well balanced with the heroes. However, there are a few new things in here. They do have kind of a review of the basic rules in case you don't own some of the other sets, but you've got some special 5 to 6 player rules which can kind of expand the experience here. You've got Zone of Influence, so basically you can only attack the player on your right or left if you use that rule. And you also have Vengeful Ghost, so that after you're knocked out, on each Vengeful Ghost turn, they attack one of the players still in the game. This attack ignores Zone of Influence and cannot deal lethal damage. Ghosts cannot attack players with 1 hit point, so you can't die that way, but you can be a bit vengeful and be active even if you're knocked out of the game, which is kind of nice. Now, I've already punched these out of here, but it took me a while. It was a gradual realization of what is all this stuff and what's going on with this box here. But I'll show you what's going on. First off, it comes with this little box, which I had to kind of unfold and put together, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. I thought it was just to hold some of the cards, and it's like, that's kind of lame. Why are they giving me this little box that clearly can't hold all the cards included? In the bottom here, we did have 3 decks, or 3 piles of cards, rather, that have all 6 decks. Let's see if I can get them out here without totally spilling them. Oof. Made my deck save on that one. So we've got our new monster decks here. Again, 28 card decks, I believe. But we also have, with this box, dividers. And so these dividers go in the box here and can hold all of the cards from both expansion sets, which I think is awesome. And so we can take each deck and just slip it into its appropriate spot using the dividers. So yeah, really smart design. Like, it is just an absolute thing of beauty. Sometimes I just like opening this box and just looking at it all so organized, like a little Rolodex or I don't know what. The other really smart thing is that it came with little tokens for each hero and monster. So yes, you even get some for the decks that I already had, and that's especially handy because, you know, they're small, they're lightweight, and easy to lose. So if you happen to have lost any of them from the earlier decks, you get extras in here. Super smart inclusion. And while I was first disappointed just by kind of dumping these in here and wondering, don't they have a good spot for these? I then later realized that this box that I thought was for cards is actually for the little tokens. It's not a perfect solution. It's kind of a flimsy little box, and it definitely, involves me taking them out of here and just dumping them out every time that we're playing the game so we can find the right ones. By the way, these little hearts would be used on the shield cards to mark how many shields are left in this shield card. So the big old box is maybe not the most elegant storage solution, but I appreciate them providing a storage solution, and it does fit very nicely in the box here right alongside our decks of cards. So anyway, the fact that this is a storage box and that it looks so nice, it's just so aesthetically pleasing, was honestly one of the things that got me most excited about this Monster Madness expansion. And that and the fact that, again, it just adds a little bit more variety because the game can get fairly repetitive. So in terms of my thoughts on the game itself, I do really enjoy it, especially with my boys. My 8-year-old son, we would play it when he was 7, and he does not really get into games that much. Like, he just doesn't really have the patience to sit down and play a game of Ticket to Ride, and barely even a game of Dungeon. So that's one thing I do really appreciate about this game, is that my now 8-year-old son really enjoys it. It's quick, it's interesting enough, he likes monsters, he likes the cool art, he likes fighting, so it's kind of action-packed enough to hold his attention for a few games, and often he'll want to play 3 or 4 games, and I'm kind of done. Now, that is another thing about it, is that it is somewhat repetitive. It's one of those games that I can't see playing an entire game night of this, right? If I'm getting together with my friends, sure, playing a quick game or two could be fun to kind of pass the time, but playing this for 2 or 3 hours, I just can't see us doing. You know, a game like Munchkin, on the other hand, I definitely have had friends over on a game night, and we've played this for 2, 3, 4 hours, just kind of going nuts with it. You know, a game of Munchkin is a much longer burn, but Dungeon Mayhem is, I think, a lot better for young kids. Adults can still have a lot of fun with it, I think. And when you get all the expansions, there is a lot of fun in just kind of discovering these new abilities and remembering, oh yeah, this is a cool one. I'll also say that the cost of the game overall is pretty affordable. This deck right here is $11 on Amazon. This one is $8 or $9. And this right here is $20. Another thing I should note is that I've been kind of referring to this as an expansion, but it's not really. You could absolutely treat this as a standalone game and just play with the 6 monsters, which is, you know, a much bigger selection than either of these offer. You could absolutely just play this expansion too if you just want to play 1v1. That could work. But understand that if you do just get this one, you are going to have some blank spaces in here, which personally would kind of bother me. So I think a lot of people definitely are going to want to just get them all, but if you're going to start with one, this is a pretty good starting place just to try it out at a low price. I will put Amazon affiliate links down in the video description, and of course buying through those links does help support the channel. You can also check your local game shops, of course. So to wrap things up here, if you are up for a quick and easy beat-em-up style last man standing game with a Dungeons and Dragons theme, then I think this game is for you. You should definitely check it out. I have had a lot of fun with it over the last year or so with my kids, and we're just having even more fun now that the Monster Madness set is out. So definitely check it out. And I'd also love to hear what you think if you have played Dungeon Mayhem before down in the comments below. Now, before I sign off here, I do want to give a huge thank you to the WASD20 patrons. These people support my channel on a monthly basis, and they're absolutely amazing. They're making it happen for me here on WASD 20, and if you want to join with them in support of my work and snag some pretty cool rewards, go check it all out over at patreon.com/WASD20. Thank you all so much for watching, and everybody take care. You'll see me again very soon.